So sometimes things are tricky, you know what I mean? And it's a little bit more difficult than just making the fight happen. But like I said, I'm pushing to make the biggest and best fight.
It really happened that the feared Mexican powerhouse who spent years chasing a fight with Canelo might turn down a massive showdown with the current pound-for-pound king, Terence Crawford.
Did after the Canelo-Crawford fight, asking like, hey, could you maybe come?
But just as fast as the whispers started gaining momentum, David Benavidez came out and put an end to them. His explanation left a lot of fans stunned, because this wasn't some impulsive call. It showed a calculated plan that reshapes how everyone views the next chapter of his career. This wasn't about typical boxing politics. It felt like the end of one path and the start of a new mission as he aims to handle unfinished business. On a different level, then September 13th arrived a night charged with energy, where Terence "Bud" Crawford achieved what many thought couldn't be done, stepping up in weight and methodically dismantling the legendary Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo a couple of times, and he looked spectacular. Congratulations to Terence Crawford for that great performance, and man, it was a great fight.
Were you expecting more from Canelo?
I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting Canelo to knock out Crawford, to be honest with you, because it's a three-weight divisions. Well, he did fight one time, the higher division, but and for me, it's three ways, He had to go up a lot in weight, and that's what I was expecting. But at the end of the day, I got to give respect to Canelo. He has done so much in boxing that it will be hard for somebody else to achieve and make. He trained hard, and he himself, he said that he tried, but the body did not respond. And I've been saying that, the body is worn out. Canelo is young, but in boxing life.
As the boxing world was still absorbing Crawford's unbelievable display, Turkey Alashik quickly jumped in and ignited the debate. He posted a simple question on social media asking if David Benavidez could still cut down to 168 pounds, and within moments speculation exploded everywhere. Talk of a massive showdown started building fast. Benavidez, the unbeaten two-time champion with 30 victories and 24 knockouts, has long been viewed as one of the most feared fighters in the division, and the man many believed Canelo had steered clear of for years. The thought of Crawford's sharp accuracy clashing with Benavidez's non-stop pressure felt like a perfect high-intensity matchup. Fans were energized, the financial stakes looked huge, and one of the most influential figures in boxing had clearly set the stage for something enormous.
I think Terence is really funny. I love the way he lives his life. I love the way he brings his kids. If you watch his kids with the wrestling and stuff like that, he's just a winner. And I feel that, you got guys who are really, really, really good, and they're not really hell-bent on becoming a star. I put you in that category. I put Terence in that category. Maybe Shakur, where they feel like they don't really want to. Terence ain't bothered about going to premieres and, being on the front cover of magazines and stuff like that. But unfortunately, in the business, we have to try and make sure he has that kind of value commercially. So it's getting a narrative.
But right when it started to feel like the fight was locked in and unavoidable, everything suddenly came to a stop. The rising momentum hit a wall as David Benavidez stepped forward and completely shut down the speculation with a firm statement that left zero doubt. Speaking in an interview with FightHub TV, he made it absolutely clear his chapter at super middleweight is finished, and there is no plan whatsoever to return to the 168-pound division.
After this fight, I want to go down to 154.
Nah.
No, bro. Honestly, I'm done with cruiserweight. I want to take this opportunity, though.
His stance left no space for second-guessing. This wasn't a strategic move to pressure anyone or gain an edge. It was a firm and final call. He put the remaining talk to rest by stating he will not go back to 168 under any circumstances, not even for a showdown with Canelo, making it clear he was speaking with complete honesty. He even admitted that the division now belongs to Terence Crawford and doubled down on the fact that his time at 168 pounds is officially finished.
I want to take this opportunity, though. I said cruiserweight. Yeah. I want to take this opportunity to, congratulate Crawford. He put a hell of a performance. He's up there in the Mount Rushmore of the greatest fighters of all time. And, let Crawford do his thing, bro. At the end of the day, I have no interest in fighting Crawford. I have no interest in going down to 168. Yeah, it's nice that it would be dope winning all titles, but I'm way past.
When questioned about whether a huge $120 million offer could tempt him to return, he quickly shut that idea down, making it clear that money has nothing to do with his decision. This choice is being guided by something far more meaningful that is defining the path of his career moving forward.
Only reason I wouldn't even go down to 168 for Canelo, and I'm just being real with you, and let Crawford do his thing. Let him have his, let him. I want to give his flowers, man, because he's a great fighter, man. When there's no other fighter that's coming up from 147 to beat a type of fighter like Canelo, at 168. You know, and Crawford, you know, he's one of the greatest of all time. So, you know, I have no interest in going down to 168. I'm not saying that I'm scared of Crawford or whatever, you know, but Crawford's a man at 168. That's his weight class.
The real motivation behind Benavidez's decision isn't just about the strain of cutting weight. It reflects a calculated step toward a bigger and more ambitious phase of his career. He's not avoiding danger or difficult opponents. He's aiming higher, chasing a different challenge that could prove even more significant than anything he faced before.
David, if they throw 100 million, 120 million to go down for either or, like,
I mean,
would you second?
20 million sounds good, but honestly, at the end of the day, no. no. But they won't give 120 million. I don't even think Canelo got 120 million for fighting Crawford, to be honest with you. But no, man.
Benavidez has now officially stepped into the light heavyweight division at 175 pounds and is locking in on the elite names in that weight class. His next target is a major showdown against Britain's Anthony Yarde, with the fight expected to go down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
I mean, and my job is not only to get the money. My job is to give myself the best chance to win and to give myself the best chance.
He views this matchup as more than just an opportunity to elevate his global reputation, but as a crucial move in his pursuit of becoming the #1 fighter in the 175-pound division.
How this fight came about? Because I was surprised that you went this route with Yarde.
Yeah, so there was a lot of options on the table. You know, obviously we wanted to get a great fight because the last fight with me and David Benavidez lived up to expectation. I think it exceeded expectations. So we wanted to give the fans a good fight. We were in line for Bivol for the belts, you know, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So we were looking, you know, to get a crowd pleasing fight, and we're trying to fight the best in the division of 175. If it's not the champions, you know, we want to fight the next best guys. We were looking at some options, but the only one that really manifested itself was the fight with Anthony Yarde, and I think this is a crowd pleasing fight. You know, Anthony Yarde, you know, he's a great fighter. You know, he still has a ton of fight in him. He's been in there with Archer Beterbiev, Kovalev. So he's been up there with, you know, the top guys. And I feel like this is probably going to be the most he comes prepared for any fight, because he's lost his last two title fights. And, you know, I feel like he knows that this is probably the last opportunity. Not his last opportunity, but this is, you know, he has to take advantage of this opportunity. So I'm not taking Anthony Yarde lightly. I know he has a dog in him. You know, I know he has a lion in him, but, you know, I have the lion in me as well. So this is going to be a perfect fight for my first. Very grateful for this. And not only am I grateful for fighting with Riyadh season, but I'm grateful because I don't want to just be a regional fighter. I want to be a worldwide fighter. And this is the first time that I'm going to fight in a different country, in Saudi Arabia. So this is going to be you know, a little, you know, it's going to be a gift for the fans in Saudi Arabia. You know, when I went over there the first time to see Bivol and Beterbiev fight, you know, a lot of people show love. So, and I know I have a lot of fans out there. So, you know,
Benavidez is fully confident he can come out on top, and he understands that a win would move him one step closer to the division's biggest names, including Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. In his mind, the road to building his legacy is no longer in the weight class he once dominated, but in challenging the elite fighters now standing at light heavyweight. He is focused on long-term greatness over short-term money, believing that his real legacy will be written at 175 pounds.
Division 175 pounds, you have the undisputed champion in Dimitri Bivol, who's reigning, but he has we think a rubber match with Artur Beterbiev scheduled at some point. Has it been told to you, David, that like if you win this fight, you're gonna get a crack at either Bivol or Beterbiev?
I mean, yeah, it's not, they haven't told me specifically that, but, you know, I mean, just in the trajectory of what I'm doing, what I am, you know, I'm world champion at 175 with the WBC. So it's inevitable. It's just when it's going to happen. You know what I mean? I take my career one fight at a time. You know what I mean? I don't really let other fights kind of get into my brain. You know, I'm getting ready for Anthony Yarde. I'm 100% focused on Anthony Yarde, and whatever comes next, comes next. But as for what I'm thinking of, you know, that's, what else is there left? What other fights you guys want to see me fight? You know what I mean? Especially that we're here with Turki Al-Sheikh. We're getting these fights done. In my opinion, a fight with Beterbiev.
But Benavidez wasn't the only one closing the door on this potential mega fight. The conversation took another twist when Terence Crawford's side also showed no real interest in pushing it forward. Crawford's highly regarded trainer Brian McIntyre quickly poured cold water on the idea of Benavidez being next. When asked directly about the matchup, he responded in a straightforward manner, saying no, that fight is not happening. He also emphasized that their main focus right now is giving Crawford time. to rest and recover after a grueling 6-month training camp leading into the Canelo fight.
We're going to get back in the gym. We're going to get back in the gym and we're going to assess that. And, right now, I just want him to go on vacation, have some fun, spend time with his family, man, because we trained for like probably a half a year for that fight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time spent away from home, a lot of time spent away from the family. So I just want him to just go.
In fact, he went a step further, insisting that Crawford should take a real break and focus on spending time with his family instead of jumping straight back into another punishing training camp for negotiations. His comments made one thing very clear: this fight was never truly part of Crawford's immediate plans. The bigger picture showed that it wasn't only Benavidez stepping away from the idea, but both camps moving in separate directions, with neither side viewing the other as a priority right now.
Turkey people are talking about it.
Turkey hit it at that. He was like Benavidez.
Yeah, he
Turkey,
did.
so-
Turkey just posted that this morning, wondering if Benavidez can make 168. Maybe he has plans or ideas of maybe trying to match up Benavidez with Terence Crawford.
No.
That fight. Maybe planning on vacating the belt.
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belt. So, we just gonna sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in.
To really understand Benavidez's way of thinking, you have to look back at his long and exhausting pursuit of a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo was the bigger star, younger in his prime, and known for his aggressive style, and many fans felt he was the one opponent. Canelo consistently stayed away from that drawn-out and ultimately fruitless chase appears to have left Benavidez frustrated and disappointed with what the 168-pound division offered. His decision to move up in weight is not just a professional step, it also feels like a personal reset, a way to leave behind the frustration and start fresh on a new path.
Well, I didn't prepare for that fight, but now I'm prepared, this and that. There's another storyline behind that. Because of the way he lost, he didn't go in there and get just beat up and destroyed the whole fight. It just didn't look like he prepared at all. And the fighter that was prepared was Crawford. So, there could still be a big storyline, 175. Like I said, he could say, "Oh, well, now I'm motivated. Now I have a reason to train. Now this and that," and it'll be a title fight for 175. So, everything is still possible right now. And Canelo, what is he, like 35?
So I think it's 33.
33, yeah. And then imagine Crawford was 38.
38, yeah.
So I mean, I don't, I'm not focused on Canelo. I got my own stuff going on, but if there might be a way to make that fight happen. So, like I said, I'm not really worried about that. I'm just thinking about
Watching Crawford dominate the same opponent he himself never got the chance to share the ring with may have been the final piece of clarity Benavidez needed. He saw Crawford enter the bout with complete precision and discipline, and it only reinforced the idea that Canelo's pride may have played a role in avoiding certain risks while remaining at 168 pounds for Benavidez. This is the end of the Canelo storyline once and for all. He is no longer chasing what never materialized. Instead, he is choosing to move forward and build a new legacy in a different division defined by fresh challenges rather than missed opportunities.
And I know all these people say, "Oh yeah, talking shit about Canelo." I'm not talking shit about him. He just didn't look like he really prepared 100%. Just throwing 10 punches around, or I think his ego is that big that he thought that, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk through him, catch him with a good shot, and it's gonna be done." As you can see, Crawford is a different type of fighter. Not only has he had the boxing IQ, he has that dog in him. He was in there. He was brawling. If I'm being honest with you, bro, I'm not happy that he lost. I kind of feel like that could have been me. That was my moment. You know what I mean? If I would have gone in there, I know I would have beat him. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a hater, but that's kind of how I feel. But you know what I mean? I give all the flowers to Crawford. You know what I mean?
That should have been me in there. That should have been my.
This firm decision also highlights a deeper transformation in Benavidez. As a person, he is no longer the reckless young contender who once made noise for the wrong reasons. Instead, he has openly reflected on past errors and the criticism that came with them, and has grown into a more disciplined and centered fighter. Much of that change he credits to finding purpose through prayer and reflection, shaping a more grounded mindset in his life. Beyond boxing, he now focuses on being a responsible father and husband, which has sharpened his clarity about what truly matters. This maturity has given him a much clearer direction. He is driven by the goal of becoming the best and building a legacy that lasts, and he is no longer willing to be pulled off course by distractions or short-term opportunities. Turning down a fight with Crawford is not about ego, it is the deliberate decision of someone who fully understands his identity and the direction he wants his life and career to take.
was 22. From seeing what I did to him in those sparring sessions, I'm very confident I'll win. But I'm not gonna, be a fool and just use confidence as 100% fuel. I'm gonna go in there and work extremely hard.
You're looking to go up to 175 pounds and potentially get the winner out of Benavidez and Bivol.
That's why I want to be a part of these big fights too, because as you know, both you guys know, once you get a really good fighter in front of you, the training camp is different. The mentality is different. And when you get in that ring, you shine. That's what I want for myself. I want to be put in them hard positions where you have to use 100% of your skills. And that's why I feel like the best will come out of me. So I'm not scared of it. So whatever it is, even if light heavyweight isn't my final destination, I really want to go up to cruiserweight.
Ooh, so that's cruiserweight, just you're a weight class away from going to actual heavyweight.
Yeah. But we're going to move one step at a time. We got light heavyweight. That's the division I've been wanting to go to for a long